What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Bourbon Bullshit Podcast with some good friends, great drinks, and a little bit of BS. So grab a seat, pour up something neat, and welcome to the show. All right. Welcome into the show, everyone. Today, I am with a really good friend, an eccentric personality, and overall volatile human being. I'm joking. All jokes because she's going to hit me. Actually, really happy to finally get her in on the show. It's a good friend, Derby, a.k.a. Sriracha. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. It sounded like you wanted to tell me something right there in the middle.
I just feel like it's false advertisement to say we're really good friends. We're more like enemies.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, the best of enemies are made because you were friends at some point, and some, it's just something toward a son. I hate that you're lying to these people. You know, you love me. Either way, Russell loves me, so that's all that matters. Today's going to be a fun episode. Derby's a friend of ours. We've actually almost I'm going to let you tell people where we met, but we're going to talk about her journey through roller derby, which is ironically also her name.
Yes, that's true. Facts.
And some other random fun facts about her and everything that she's gone through. So, Derby, what's new with you? How are you?
I'm good. There's absolutely nothing new with me. I am very boring. People just think my life is exciting, but I have done nothing. I do nothing. I'm just here surviving. This is
great start. Hey, where did we meet? So you can tell people a little bit about how we met, introduce yourself and some of our mutual friends that might be listeners or friends of the show.
Okay, we met playing Dead by Daylight. So my good friend Mel, who I met in roller derby, I found out during when everything shut down during the pandemic times, those dark times. I found out she was a gamer, and I am also a gamer. And she introduced me to the game Dead by Daylight, and was like, "Yeah, I have these group of people that I play with. Great, lovely, beautiful." Some of those people in the group included G Virus. I don't know. Am I supposed to call you Arthur?
You call me Arthur. Yeah.
Or G.
Arthur or G.
I don't know. I call you G. So Arthur's weird.
What? It's funny. You're not the only person who thinks Arthur is weird. Because
it's your name, but it's weird.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. In my old job in football and just coming up, at some point my nickname became AG, or then it just turned into G. And when people call me Arthur, they're like, "Who?" So you can call me G if you want.
It's gonna be G because it's not gonna come out fluidly if I try and call you Arthur. Arthur.
We're barely into the show. I've been made fun of for just having a name that's not what she likes. Go on, ma'am.
I like it. I like weird things. It's fine. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was basically it. Basically we met playing games. We met virtually playing DBD. Mm-hmm. And from that point forward, we became Nemesis.
Nemesis, singular. The reason why I thought it was an interesting story is because for the first 2.5 years of our friendship, we never physically met until I think I went to a roller derby match of yours here when you came to Orlando.
Yes. So, I mean, it was probably a good 2 years, maybe even more. And then you guys were able to pop in to watch me play roller derby when I was playing the team in Orlando. And the dynamic in person was the same. We were still very bullying each other and bantering back and forward. And I don't know, we just hit it off really quickly in person too. So I think that made us become even closer friends. And then we started playing even more games together.
Nemesis. I just think it's always funny because you hear those stories about people who became friends online. I've been playing Call of Duty with this person for 10 years. And those, I've seen a trend online, especially on TikTok and Reddit, where people have been gamer friends for 10 years, get invited to someone's wedding, and then they become real life friends after knowing all these crazy things about each other forever and ever and ever.
Yeah, I was at your engagement party.
Yes, you were. You and Russell. When I visited Tampa, me and my fiance visited you and Russell, and we bored them to death because you and I spoke about just video games for about 2 hours.
Yeah, well, mainly like not about the games. We were just shit talking about the people we play games with, to be fair.
Richie. No, it's just funny. One of the many. Shouts to Shin, shouts to Gata, all of them. And what's funny is that like
everyone was catching strays, to be fair. It is us.
And what's funny is to this day, I've known Ravik in real life before I knew him in games. Like, yeah, I know his real name. He's my best man whenever I get married. But there are times I catch myself slipping and calling him Ravik in real life. Like somehow his gamer tag has become much more synonymous with his identity than anything else, and it's because of that digital friendship. Is that weird?
Yeah, I didn't know his name was Kevin until like a month ago. So.
What? Seriously?
I had no idea. I think I kind of subconsciously knew because I remember going to your engagement party and like I'd already met a bunch of people in person because like a big group of you came to my roller derby games, but I had never met him in person. And I still don't know if I ever met him in person because I don't know what he looks like, but I probably did because I remember the name Kevin.
Yeah.
But I don't remember having a conversation with him, like, and anybody calling him Ravik or anything in that conversation. So I'm pretty sure we had a conversation, but I didn't know that Kevin was Ravik. Like, I didn't know that those were the same.
I got to look back at those pictures and see if there's a point where you're standing next to each other. It was when I told people that you were going to be on the show and that they were in the engagement party, they're like, who? We met her? I was like, yes. And then when I showed a picture of you and Russell together, like, oh yeah, she does roller derby? He was like, don't let her small stature fool you. She's a very mean person. She'll kill somebody.
I mean, I would probably. But like, with good reason.
You're such a like, yeah, I would.
I mean, it wouldn't be like, I wouldn't just be like, I feel like murdering today. Like that's
murder.
But like if someone deserved it, maybe I'm defending someone. I don't fucking know. Like I will, and I will sleep like a baby.
Here at Bourbon and BS, we do not condone reckless murder.
No, it's not reckless. Murder. It's with a purpose.
To protect your lives. Yes. Moving forward before I get canceled already. This is 7 minutes and 30 seconds into this. So today's drink of the day was so Sriracha is not someone who necessarily takes in alcohol on a regular basis. She is training for some pretty big events and she's trying to keep her body in tip-top shape. So we gave her the option of making a cocktail rendition of almost like a raspberry mule, but using nowadays. This recipe, use whatever spirit you want. I use whiskey. She used nowadays for the context of the show. It'll be 1.5 ounce of your preferred spirit. 3/4 ounce lime juice, 1/4 ounce simple syrup, 4 raspberries, muddle them in a shaker tin, drop some ice in there, shake that, pour that into fresh ice. You're gonna have to double strain it unless you want the little itty bitty bits of raspberry in your drink, and then top with some ginger beer. Super refreshing. One of my favorite drinks, especially now that it's getting warmer because Florida refuses to not be 108 degrees. It's fucking April.
Yeah. Just wait until August, then it'll feel like the devil's asshole, really.
I hate summers here. Every person that is like, oh, I can't wait for summer. Fuck you. Fucking live in Florida.
My mom just yesterday was like, yeah, oh, it's hot outside. Not that I'm complaining. I love the heat. And I'm like, I know. That's why I live here. And my life is miserable. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Every damn day that it gets slightly warmer, I'm like, fucking, this is what you guys wish for. This is the fuck you Floridians ask for. I'm out here just trying to enjoy my cool weather. No, can't do that. Fuck.
Nope. Although it has been like cool consistently later into the year. Like, I mean, it was chilly like just a week ago, and traditionally it would be hot by mid-April.
Fucking yeah, that has been one of the blessings of global war. I mean, nothing. Hey guys, so we quickly touched on
what is science?
What is science here at our whiskey show? That's not what we're here for. Bourbon and Nerds is later on. So we briefly touched on you doing roller derby and this whole peak physical fitness journey that you're on. But tell us about roller derby for those who are uninitiated and just think that roller skating is just fun and pretty.
It is fun. It is not pretty. I am not graceful, but it's kind of difficult to explain.
Try.
But I'm gonna try. No, it's hard to explain, but essentially it is a full contact sport that is on skates. So a lot of people remember roller derby from like the 70s that has a bank track, and you're basically doing just laps. Basically, it's like a race, right?
Mm-hmm.
It does look a little bit different now. It is on a flat track instead of a bank track, and it is more aggressive, and more like the teamwork is definitely more hardcore, and aggressive. And so basically, there are two positions. There are blockers, and then there's what's called the jammer. And the jammer is the one racing around the track, while the blockers are pretty much stationary in this style of roller derby. Not fully, but like they tend to stay together because of the rules. But anyway, it's complicated, but basically it is a sport where every time the jammer passes someone on the other team whilst doing these laps, they get a point. So the mission as a blocker is to stop the jammer from passing them in any way, by any means available to you, which means with your body. So, yeah.
It means with your body, not with by any means, no weaponry or anything like that.
Yes, so we're not Mad Max over here, but close.
Yeah, I have seen it in action, and there's some spills that happen. I mean, some people look like they're flopping, but that's not here right now. Okay, LeBron.
Right.
So, what position is it that you play?
I am a jammer. I score the points.
And you said that you're what? So when you talk about kind of like ranking on a team, and you play semi-pro or for a pro?
We don't use that terminology, but I am like on a AA level team. So yeah.
Okay. Tell us about what the differences are in like AA versus anything else and all that.
Yeah. So basically, if you are in a league, you can rank your team, your different teams by different levels. So there is C, B, and A, which is just what you would think it is. A C team is obviously like newer skaters that are new to like competing. And then a B level are the people that are kind of in between, that are working on their skills to potentially move up to an A team. And because the skill difference is so high between leagues, and I'll give you an example in a minute, but because the skill gap is so high, they created a terminology which is called AA, which means if you are highly ranked, so we're about 5th in the region, in the Southeast region right now at Tampa Roller Derby. So we do consider ourselves a AA team, because when we play other A teams, for example, when we play Orlando, or when we play, like a couple weeks ago, we played Fort Myers, we won 19 to 328.
Excuse me? What?
Yeah. So, and we play their A teams. So that's the differentiation. Like, yes, we are an A team. Technically, we're just an A team, but we categorize ourselves, because where we are in the rankings, as AA, because when we play some A teams, it is a huge point disparity.
All right. So you're a badass is what you're telling me.
No, I mean, if we went and I mean, I'm pretty awesome, but if we were to go,
her, she's gonna be all bashful now. Look at this. This is
when we go and if we were to go and play Rose City, which is from Portland, they're the #1 team in the world, we would get our shit rocked. So there is just like a big skill gap depending on what team that you're in. But it's not that we're not good. It's just obviously other teams are more well prepared for whatever reason. Maybe they have people who can train more. Maybe they have better coaches, like better strategy, all of that stuff. So, I mean, just like in any other sport, like everyone's a professional, right? Like someone off the street isn't going to come and compete with you, but there are people who are like really like win all the time. And then others who just consistently don't. Doesn't make you less talented or less of a professional.
Fair. All right. So how long have you been training for that? How long have you been competing in? like in roller derby? Was this the first sport that you decided you wanted to do? Were you doing athletics and sports before that, or how was that road to get there?
I have done sports in the past. I'm a very athletic person. When I was younger, would play sports, and I was a gymnast. At one point, I played soccer, sports ball. When I was really young, I played soccer. You
were a gymnast?
Like I said, yeah, in like middle school and early high school. And I also did like cheerleading, but not like hey, we cheer for football. Like I never cheered for a sport. It was like, the ones that do tricks and the competitive ones that do all the crazy shit. That's what I did, which makes sense for
I would hope, because I don't really imagine you running around saying sports ball. Sorry.
Sports ball. So that was when I was younger, but I've always been pretty like athletic. Like I learn physical things very quickly. Different whatever sports. I have good hand-eye coordination just naturally. Like I remember the first time I went to a shooting range, like I was pretty much able to get very close to bullseye very fast. Just pick up those sorts of things quickly.
I did not know that you went shooting before.
Yeah, at a shooting range.
Never mind. Yeah, so this never thing is a little bit more dangerous than I realized. Okay.
I mean, I don't shoot. I have a compound bow, so I am still armed and dangerous. But it's just it's not as deadly.
It can be. Have you not played hunt?
I mean, I'm not Katniss Everdeen or anything, but I do have a compound bow just for fun. Like I love animals. I'm vegan, as you know, so I am very much pro all sentient beings. So I would never hurt animals. People maybe, but not animals.
That's fair. I do like dogs better than I like people. So all right. So you did these sports. You did gymnastics. Mm-hmm. You did cheerleading, and you were naturally athletic. When did you decide to throw on skates and tackle through people? Like both all these other sports seem fun, but there had to be some kind of step into. You didn't just show up one day, throw on roller skates. It's like, who can I hit? How'd you get into roller derby?
I just found out about it like by happenstance, essentially. So the quick version is I was, my ex-boyfriend from obviously way before, a long time ago, because I've been with Russell for 11 years, is an audio engineer. Oh, thank you. He's an audio engineer, and he did the sound system for where they were skating. And it went down before a game. So, and we were going to dinner, and they were like, they needed it pretty quickly. So we just stopped by there so he could fix it before we went to dinner, and they were practicing. They happened to be practicing. And so Diddy, who's still on the board of directors, she's on the board of directors with me, was the president at the time, and walked over to me. And she's just a very like outgoing and social person, and will talk to everyone, very much unlike myself, and was like, hey, what's your name? Like, you should come play roller derby. And I was like, my name is Derby. I have no idea what you're talking about. And she was like, oh my God, your name is Derby. No, you absolutely have to.
When she heard your name, she's like, that's it. Derry Jersey.
That's it. So unfortunately, that was like 6 years before I actually tried it, because sadly, I was in a relationship that was not super happy. So I didn't have a lot of confidence. I wasn't very happy. It was just like one of those situations you find yourself in where you like,
you weren't allowed to kind of, not allowed, but it wasn't a good headspace to try something
new. It wasn't a good headspace. And the person, like, because of the relationship we were in, really held me back from doing a lot of things, not on purpose, but just because I just was emotionally stunted and I had a lot of anxiety. So anyways, years after that, I had decided that I was gonna, I was thinking about it ever since then, right? So for years, I was thinking like, this is something that I want to try, like watching the practice. I just knew that it was something that I wanted to try. And I was really unhappy for a long time. So one year I just like decided I'm going to have a year of yes. I don't know if you've ever read the book, but like
I heard of it. I did not.
But, yeah,
I didn't read the
by
book.
Shonda Rhimes, who's a great producer for
How to Get Away
many
with Murder,
TV shows. Yeah,
one of
exactly.
the hospital shows.
Yes. And
Scandal.
so Grey's Anatomy was the first one I was introduced to that she.
Anyone at home judging me,
developed.
How to Get Away with Murder is fucking fantastic. Mind your business.
Yeah, it was very good. Very good. So anyways,
yes.
read that book, decided I'm going to have a year of yes. And I was like, I'm going to say no to as little things as possible. Like even if I don't want to do things, I'm going to fucking do it. And so when I thought about roller derby again, I was like, well, I have to say yes to myself. I have to go and try this thing. Like, even if it's not something I ultimately end up doing. And that was in 2019. And so I did go try it. And they taught me to skate, and they taught me the rules, and they taught me about safe contact and all of these things. And we're like, hey, okay, great. Go play roller derby. And I really, really sucked.
At first. I mean, we
was really bad.
We suck at everything at first, right?
Yeah. So I was really bad. And then when I had the opportunity to try out for a travel team, they just put me straight on the B team instead of like going from C team to B team, because from the moment I put on skates to play roller derby, I practiced every day. I was doing footwork every single day. Obviously, you can't do contact without other people, but I was working every single day and would go to every open scrimmage. Like, I was doing all sorts of things. Roller derby turned into my entire life. And so I just got the opportunity to start competing basically in 2020. And before I ever played my first game, the whole world got shut down, and I didn't get to play roller derby until 2 years later.
Holy shit. Yeah. I forgot. You said 2019. Fuck, that's hot. God damn it. Every time.
I know. Isn't that timing hilarious? I finally started doing things for myself. And then the one thing that really helped me come out of my shell and help me see who I am and to be the person that I am and not give a fuck was taken away for a long time. But I did already by that time make some good friends. And, once it was almost safe, Florida safe, I guess, to see people again.
Florida safe.
We would go outside and we would, we would go outside and practice roller derby and practice skating and stuff like that. And they were just the safe group of everyone had their group that they would actually socialize with and whatever. They were mine. So I did still work on some basics of roller derby. So by the time I was able to actually play roller derby, I didn't lose any skills that I learned, and in fact improved a little bit because we were going to skate parks and stuff like that. So I actually knew how to skate. I was better at skating when I came back.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then, like I said, because I'm just can naturally pick up athletic type things, I got an athletic trainer as soon as they put me on the A team. Because when we came back, because of the skill level that I was and who was, I probably, if everyone that had come back, if everyone that was on the A team before had come back, I would have never been on the A team. But because we were lacking in players, they put me right on the A team. So I was able to travel. One of my first games, if not my first game, was actually a game, an A-level game.
Really?
Out of town. Yeah.
Where?
And in Columbia, South Carolina.
I forget that you travel so much for this.
I travel a lot from day one, apparently. No.
Sure.
So I basically just got an athletic trainer, someone who trains athletes, not just a personal trainer, but an actual trainer that could train me in agility as well as strength. And so for the first full year back, I worked super hard and improved my skills so much, dramatically. I was dedicated to being good enough to be on this A team.
Hell yeah.
And I just made it. I just kind of made it happen. I improved, and every year your goal is to improve, but I like to improve a lot. I'm an overachiever. So now I went from never having competed and one of my first games being an A-level game and me being what the fuck am I doing here, to now I know that I'm an athlete. I feel comfortable calling myself an athlete and a competitive athlete at that. And now I'm going to the World Cup with Team Puerto Rico and feel confident that that's a role that I should be in.
Hell yeah. I have an applause button, but I got something else there. Hold on.
You just got jammed.
I knew you were going to do that at some point. I was like, this is coming.
Did you know for real?
I just had a feeling.
What?
I had a feeling. I didn't know when you were going to do. I didn't know what was going to trigger it, but I just thought That's going to happen.
That's a fun.
Because you and Richie are the worst.
What? We are not the worst. By no means are we the worst. Have you met Gata?
Oh my God.
Guys, we're going to take a quick break, but awesome so far to get to know a little bit more of that history and when you got into it all. And that,
yeah, it's a boring story. So, but
no, it's not. It's a fucking story where, you know how many people started a pursuit or a dream or something during the pandemic and it never panned out? I'll tell you, I was doing jujitsu and I was really getting heavy into it right before the pandemic. And then you get immediately told you can't be around people. Jujitsu is 95% hugging people. Mm-hmm. So by the time I got back, I was like, I tried to get back into it and I was like, there's a lot of injuries involved. I'm almost like fucking 38. I forgot how I was much older. I was like, no, I can't do this shit anymore. And I was working. So like, yeah, I didn't pursue it. So I'll be one of those stories of failure where you said, fuck it, I'm gonna keep doing this and do it right. And you ended up really high level. So no, not a boring story at all. And if you keep shit talking yourself, we're going to fight. Be right back, guys. Hey guys, here at the show, we ask that you follow 3 simple rules that'll save your night and possibly your dignity. Rule number 1, don't drink and drive. Seriously, Uber exists for a reason. If you wouldn't trust yourself to build IKEA furniture after 3 bourbons, you definitely shouldn't be behind the wheel. Rule number 2, avoid Amazon one-click buy. Drunk you thinks a medieval suit of armor is a great investment. Sober you, not so much. And then try to explain it to your credit card company. And finally, rule number 3, do not text your ex. Look, they had their chance, and you deserve better. No one ever found happiness at the bottom of a 2 a.m. I miss you text. Move on, hydrate, and remember, you're better than that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Text literally anyone else. Text your Uber driver that you miss them, but not your ex. Seriously, all jokes aside, stay safe, do the right thing, and take care of yourselves. All right, guys, now back to the show. All right, guys, we are back. Chacha, that's the updated version. The other one was a little goofier, but this one seemed more of an adult version of don't drink and drive and don't text your ex.
So, I like goofy. I thought it made me laugh. It was fun.
Good, as long as it passes the Sriracha judgments, because they're pretty harsh. Right. They're pretty harsh.
I am pretty judgy.
No, harsh critic, which I appreciate. Someone got to keep Richie and me in line. So you talked about after the pandemic, you just buckled down, decided I'm gonna make it happen. You made it happen, and then you jumped ahead and spoiled it, and you got selected to represent Team Puerto Rico. So yes. That must have been great. I know it was nerve-wracking, and I know it was an exciting kind of like that made you feel really good. But tell us about how that process, like what does that look like, and where is that taking place? Because we talked about you traveling a lot.
Yeah. So the selection process was actually it was kind of easy. Like I expected it to be more difficult, I think, but essentially I just filled out like a Google Doc.
I'm trying to make it sound like this giant ceremony. You're like, there's a Google Doc involved.
Yeah, there's a Google Doc involved. But I mean, they asked, questions like, what is your level? Who do you play for? Like, what is your experience? All of the stuff. Why do you want to be part of Team Puerto Rico? All of the whatever questions. And then they also asked for footage, like in-game footage. So I picked 2 of the games that I played in at regionals last year. And I had to go through and timestamp every single time I was on the track and like put a link to that.
Shit.
Tell them who I was. Like, I'm wearing a black jersey. This is my number. Like, I'm the jammer, whatever. For me, it was easy because like, you're the jammer. And they're like, oh, the fucking person with the star on. That's who we're watching. But
yeah.
So it was actually a pretty easy process. I didn't think that I would get selected because, for a team like Team USA, you go to tryouts and like the top people in the entire country are trying out. And I didn't try out for Team USA because I didn't want to. I didn't think I would be selected, but I also didn't want to represent the USA at the time, for probably obvious reasons. And so I didn't. And that selection process, I have, a few friends that went through it, and it's much more difficult because you have to fly to another state. Like, you have to fly where the tryouts are. sometimes there's multiple rounds. It's more of a traditional style. Like you try out the first 30 minutes, you do skills and drills, and then they like cut you in half. They're like, these people are not even moving on to the next round and all of that. So I thought maybe that it would be a much more difficult process, but it wasn't. And I just waited. And like a week or two later, I got the email inviting me to go to the World Cup in Austria. It's in Innsbruck, Austria with Team Puerto Rico.
Innsbruck, Austria with Team Puerto Rico. I thought that was such a cool moment to hear a friend of mine get selected for Team Puerto Rico for just something you're so proud of. And you try to underplay it where you're like, so, and you just kind of said, like, mother, this is a big fucking deal. How are you just going to just, oh, by the way, this woman. I was so frustrated.
You just got jammed.
And every time.
Okay, well.
All right, that's the last one for right now. For now. But no, that's a big deal. And I'm proud of you for it because I know it meant a lot to you. And especially when now you're telling me the story basically where you started getting into the sport right before you couldn't do the sport. And then you just pursued it. And prior to that, your confidence being impacted a little bit. Did you feel, I want to kind of jump back to that. Mm-hmm. Did you feel that once you started doing it, when you said dedicated yourself to the year of yes and did it, that it improved your self-esteem, improved your confidence, improved some things, or how did it do for your mental health?
Yeah, it definitely did. Like it played a huge factor in me being able to appear like authentically, essentially, all of the time. Right. I am very good at masking because I'm ADHD. So it's super easy for me. And it just helped me come out of my shell and definitely improve my confidence. I think it helps too. And I'm like, it's going to make me kind of sound like a little bit of a dick, but whatever. It helps too that I learn very quickly, which means that I was already better than the people that were at my level from the beginning. Right.
How does it make you sound like a dick?
It does. I mean, like, but it's the truth. I was already better and but to be fair, I was also more dedicated. I was spending a lot of time on my skates, and not that other people weren't. It just, for whatever reason, like I'm just naturally good at agility because of the training I had like in middle school and high school and stuff like that.
I was saying, like you were an athlete. So it wasn't like you just were better for no reason. Like you've been an athlete your whole life. So yeah, you learned a new skill, but natural, like you had athleticism.
Yeah. And that is actually a really good point because a lot of people who start roller derby start it in their adult life, and especially the women or people who identify as women, it's their first sport or team sport ever in their adulthood, which is not the case for me. So that probably helped me have an edge in terms of learning the sport. Yeah,
so you don't sound like a dick. You sound like someone who was an athlete most of their existence and decided, I'm going to try something new. And during the pandemic, you dedicated yourself to the footwork, the skills you didn't have, but the natural athleticism, hand-eye coordination, speed, agility, being able to not as prone to injury because you did gymnastics and cheerleading, so you're flexible. Yeah, all that makes sense. You're not a dick. I can call you a dick. You can't call you a dick. We understood.
Okay. Double standard. No.
Only I can make fun of my friends. No one else. But so talk about this community though, so I will be the first to tell you that outside of when I met you and Mel Talk, big shout out to Mel Talk, one of my favorite people that I never get to talk to anymore because we don't play BBB and some of the games that we play, she doesn't play, all that. But that's the first time I really met anyone who did roller derby. I only knew roller derby what I've seen in movies, what I've heard of, like, snippets, but nothing really. I've never been to a match. You were my first roller derby match I've ever been to, so you're welcome.
First and only?
First and only. Okay. It still counts. Tell us about the community. And it seems, so I'll just use an example. It's always funny when people who are outside of a community or kind of a niche type of group don't realize the following and how big of that community can actually be. Tell us about that for the people who don't know anything, like me.
Yeah, it's not that big of a community. It's actually kind of small.
World Series, so I don't know how small it can actually be.
Yeah, I mean, Austria. It is. I think there are a lot more. You'd be surprised how many roller derby teams that there are. I think that always shocks people. Like when I tell people, like, we live in the Southeast region and we're 5th in the region, they're kind of like, oh, cool. Like out of what, like 10? Like, well, out of 68. But you know, like
there's still a substantial amount of fucking teams. And how many people are on a team typically?
Are on a team. It varies. Like we have, you can have a 20-person roster. So there are rules, but that WIFTA, which is Women's Flat Track Roller Derby Association, makes you implement, right? Like there are rules you have to follow. And one of those is that on a charter, which is what they call like a roster, essentially, you can only have 20 skaters. So a team technically has 20, but there can be people that play for multiple WIFTA teams. Even in our league, we have what we call crossovers. So we have like what the 5 people who are still, working on their skills to become part of like the game rosters, will also play on the B team so that they get game experience, because you can actually only have 15 people in a game. I know the rules are complicated. So you have a 20-person roster, only 15 people can play in the game. So those 5 people that are least likely to be rostered for a game play on the B team so they can improve their skills to eventually win one of those spots.
That makes enough sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't.
Yeah, but to be fair, our league is pretty big, and Orlando's gotten pretty big as well. So we have 4 competitive teams. Most leagues have 1 if they have any. So, I say that we're 5th in 68, but there are actually a lot of teams in the area that are not ranked. So Ocala is not ranked. Lakeland's not ranked. So, I mean, we're kind of 5th out of a lot more if you consider those teams.
I would, seeing as in they couldn't be good enough to get ranked. So yeah, they exist.
Yeah, they choose not to because you got to pay and stuff. But whatever.
Okay. But still.
But usually, if you're like, not usually, but for these teams, I think it doesn't matter because they don't have a large enough league to kind of like work towards being a top team that goes to regional. So they can just go play, and these ranked teams can practice with them, but then they don't have to like pay the extra fees to be, ranked. So,
I mean, that's still pretty impressive. So 5th out of what could be 100 teams is still really impressive. So, but you said the community is small, but how, like, but then at the same token, there's a World Cup in Austria. So how big is the worldwide community there? Don't say worldwide.
It is.
Don't say. Like don't say Mr. 305.
When I say the community is small, I mean like it's very niche. There's not a lot of people that know about the sport, or when they do know, they don't go see it. Like you said, though, you're like, oh yeah, roller derby, super cool. Had a lot of fun seeing it, but I'm flinging stuff.
But you're what?
Don't mind me. I'm just being crazy. But when you.
What are you doing? You're crazy.
I almost spilled a drink on my keyboard. It's okay.
Okay.
But when you enjoyed watching it, you think it's really cool, you love hearing about it, but you only ever went to the one game. That's kind of what I mean by like the community is small. But it is a global sport, and there are teams all over the place, and so many more teams than you would think that there would be based on the fact that most people have never even heard about roller derby. But it is very widespread. So the community we do have is very widespread. There is probably, I didn't count, but 30 teams going to the World Cup.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And a lot of them are are based, I guess I should say, in the United States. Not a lot of them, but a good handful are like based in the United States, because you have Team USA, Team Black Diaspora, teams like Team Jewish Roller Derby and stuff like that. Those are all based. US based. So, yeah.
So it says the United States is not where roller derby is the most popular, but the United States has 848 leagues for its population of 322 million. That's 2.6 leagues per million people, while New Zealand has 29 roller derby leagues for its population. Okay. Yeah. So 848 leagues in the United States. That's a pretty solid size community.
It's probably more than that. I mean, it is more than that because that's how many are in WIFTA probably alone, which is Women's Flat Track Roller Derby Association. But then you also have junior roller derby teams, which are a different association, and then open gender, which means men can play in the on those teams is another organization. And then the ones who are not a part of either one because they don't want to be in like any ranking system. So there's probably more.
Yeah. There's a thing from 2014, so take this with a grain of salt, that I found it looks kind of interesting. What states are the most popular with roller derby? Alaska, Wyoming, Iowa, and Colorado are the top 4.
Yeah.
That is random.
That's random.
Alaska?
I'm not surprised about Colorado though, because they're, a top team.
Yeah, but
sure.
Alaska?
Yeah, I didn't know they had a team.
That's weird.
But that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it says the top 10 states for roller derby are Alaska, Wyoming, Iowa, Colorado, Vermont, Washington, Oregon, New Hampshire, Maine, and Hawaii are the top 10. Florida's number 49.
That doesn't surprise me because I think it has a lot to do. I think what they're talking about too is not like is in order to be popular, you have to have spectators, right? It's the spectators that make it popular, not the players. And people here in Florida are terrible at like being fans of things. Like they can't be bothered, even for, our baseball team and our football team and stuff like that. Like, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, that surprised me. Like, yeah. Unless you're a college football team, then they care about you way too goddamn much. Live, breathe, and eat it. Moving on. Yeah. So outside of the roller derby and everything with that athletic profile of yours, and congrats again for Team Puerto Rico. And we can't wait to see the live link because you said I'm not allowed to go to Austria. You jerk.
Oh, you're allowed. It's pretty expensive though.
Yeah.
That bill is going to hurt.
Moving forward. So everyone has a 9 to 5 during the pandemic and everything. You obviously had a different day job, but now you have a pretty interesting one too. We're going to get to that when we get back from this quick commercial break from Aurora Fable, aka Shinorbi's wife. So people stop fucking telling me that her voice is awesome. It's really awkward. Be right back, guys.
Sponsor of Bourbon and Bullshit, Big Bang Boom Collective is Orlando's burlesque and cabaret entertainment group, comprised of Midnight Fables Cabaret, Big Bang Boom Cabaret, and Foxy's Den. Follow us on Instagram at Big Bang Boom Collective, or join our VIP email list for info on upcoming shows by visiting www.bigbangboomcollective.com.
Guys, we are back. Yes, I had to give that little piece of caution because more than once someone said, hey, so when is she coming back on the show? Listen here, creeper.
that is super creeper status.
Right. So weird for me. Especially because I treat her like a little sister / lamp. I call her, the running joke was always that she's like an inanimate object. Like I just pay her no mind. She's like, what the fuck? But enough of that. You have a pretty interesting day job too. Do you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Sure, I guess. I am a day trader. So I make money to simplify it, because this is not accurate, I make money in the stock market.
Why is that not accurate? Like to simplify it, but then to not tell you the truth. That makes what do you mean not accurate?
I mean, that's fair. Because because I don't trade on like the New York Stock Exchange or anything like that. I don't specialize in stocks. I specialize in what's called futures. So it is a different financial instrument, but it's similar. Like a lot of what you know about stocks is true about futures, including like looking at charts and like strategies and stuff like that. It's just a different market. It's from you trade futures on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and not the New York Stock Exchange, because it's not a stock.
Go on. Can you break down that a little bit more for us?
Yeah, I mean, it's just basically a different financial instrument.
What are futures?
So futures are basically essentially contracts. So they are contracts to purchase something later at the price that they are at right now. And these futures contracts, you are now digital and you can trade them very similarly to how you do a stock. Just like a stock is a share of a company, like you're owning something physical. Futures is the same thing. It's just instead of owning a share of a company, you own a contract to buy something at a future date. So you can trade things, or you can trade futures like corn, cattle, like all different types of goods, oil as well, obviously gold, things like that. But you can also trade contracts for indices. So if you've ever heard of like the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, all those sorts of like large indices have futures contracts for them as well. And that's what I trade, is the futures contracts of indices that are on the stock market.
That's an interesting path. You weren't always in that, but it seems like you're very passionate about it. What were you, do you mind me asking? Because I know I was part of that. Do you mind sharing about when you made that big jump? What were you doing before and what brought you into this kind of career path? Because roller derby and then sitting in front of a computer and going like, I'm going to make some money off this. These are very different styles, like styles of things, like I guess career paths and hobbies. What got you into this career path?
By degree, I am actually an accountant. So it's a tangent industry, but not really. Like my friend who is a CPA, my best friend who's a CPA, knows nothing about investing or anything about the stock market, but it does just like open the door to like find these things out. Like I knew about the stock market in theory, but I was able to learn more about it and understand it in context, right? So for someone who doesn't know finances, like some people don't even know that stocks are a share of a company. They don't know where to go and buy and sell stocks. They don't know any of this stuff, which is super easy to do if you know it. So basically I went from being an accountant that works for a private equity firm. Before I even worked there, I was teaching myself about the stock market and about investing and trading and just learning, self-taught. Then I became really passionate about it because I always knew that I couldn't work for other people for multiple reasons, but my ADHD actually started getting worse and it made working almost impossible for someone else because I need a much more flexible schedule to work with my brain and not against it. Which sounds silly, but that's really what happened. So as soon as I started making consistent money, day trading, because what I really like is day trading. I'm not a long-term investor. I can't hold things for, years, months, all that stuff. I don't do that. I will hold things for I can't. I can hold things for days at most. But really normally I will hold contracts for like minutes. But that's boring and who cares? It's not really like a fun story. Just essentially it's same as with roller derby. I discovered it. I needed to know more about it. I, hyper focused on it and hyper fixated on it for a long time. And, the fire never died out. And that's how I know that's something that I'm serious about, is if I can go years being passionate about this thing, because having ADHD, that's really difficult. Yeah. I pick up hobbies more than I wash my underwear.
We need to talk about your hygiene. Listen,
maybe I just have a lot of underwear. G, did you think about that?
That's also fair.
Which is the truth, because I hate doing laundry. So
there's a story there. I used to get so busy that because I had a house where I didn't have a laundry machine, a washing machine, laundry machine. So I would always have to go to a laundromat. So for times in between, I would just buy more underwear than I needed. At some point, I have a mountain of shit.
I have so many, and socks.
Enough of
so
that.
Many socks.
You are dragging both our ADHDs around. Listen,
so many, and I can. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I can probably go 2 months without
doing laundry.
Yeah, probably.
That's scary. You need to throw stuff out. Listen, but it is not a boring story, because I think what you touched on it kind of day trading, and also, like you said, it works perfectly with your ADHD because that little dopamine hit, as opposed to something long term, it's quicker. The resolution's quicker. The satisfaction could be quicker. So you're consistently never bored. because there's always something new as opposed to waiting patiently for something to happen. Like, will you hurry up and do something? And it's like, no, you don't have to. You can move on to the next thing right away. So that makes perfect sense for why your career path went that way.
Yeah, it definitely does. And it's great because it is super flexible. And you know, all those jobs that are like, every day is different. Like, no. Every day is actually different. Like the chart's not going to tell you the same thing ever. So you do have to actively like engage and analyze what's happening, especially for day trading, you know, like, because things happen within seconds. Like sometimes I'm out of trades, like literally in like 3 seconds. It just depends on the day. So it does work really well with my ADHD brain. And I kind of found it I'm not found it at the right time, because it did take me like 6 years before I was ever like making, I think it was around the 6-year mark that I left my job, but I wasn't doing it in a way that made me consistent money or doing it consistently. So for whatever reason, when my ADHD became worse, which was when I was working at that job at the private equity firm, I couldn't focus on doing the things that I needed to do. Like I couldn't sit there in front of Google Sheets or Excel for
fucking Google Sheets,
6 hours. I just could, for whatever reason, I used to be able to do it, and then I couldn't. I had to be medicated to do it all, any of that shit. It was absolutely miserable. It was a really bad time mentally for me, which allowed me to create a schedule for myself where I'm like, okay, I'm going to do these work things from 11 a.m. on, but I am going to spend the early part of my morning, investing in myself and learning to trade more, like learning more about trading and being able to be financially successful at it. And that kept me from being fired, essentially, because it I don't know if they ever would have fired me. I technically worked for my best friend, but we'll say, yeah, they might have fired me, but I'm sure eventually, if you suck bad enough, they're going to fire you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I work for companies that some pretty terrible employees stay there. Well, they're still there.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes that happens too. But it's essentially being able to wake up and trade in the morning and practice that skill allowed me to be excited to get up in the morning to work. And when I realized that, I was like, well, I need a change. And I think that this is what I want to do, for the rest of my life, to make money. I knew that I had to trade my way out of a job, right? You can't just quit to trade full time, because you need money to trade, but you also need to make sure that you're making money while you're trading. So yeah, it took a while. It was about a year of misery of consistently, making money, and making sure that I could leave my job and still live. So I was basically doing both full time, kind of it was, I was trading part time, but it was miserable because I had, between roller derby, working all a lot, and trading a lot,
and stuck with us.
Didn't have a lot of time. It was very stressful.
And stuck with us playing video games at night.
I did, yes. And I did play video games. And it was literally it got me into this really bad habit that I still have, and I need to break myself of it. But there wasn't ever a time in my life where I would be sitting in front of a screen all day, every day. But when I started that, as soon as I was done working, I was I'm so high strung and so stressed and so drained. I cannot go socialize. I can't go out to dinner with Russell and his friends. I cannot do it. I'm so burnt out. All I wanted to do was something that was mind numbing. So I would play my video games to relax and unwind. And so it got me into a really bad habit where I would wake up in the morning and I would basically be on the computer all day, every day. And I still do that. So that's probably not great, but
where we are right now.
That's where we are in life. If I'm not training for roller derby or making food, I'm in front of the computer, which is so not great. But
so to be candid, I also have ADHD. And one of the things that I struggled with, especially when I started working from home, was trying to get myself out of this like very cozy, like non-social space. So I completely understand it. When, at least for me, and I don't mean to speak for you, but finding that athletic output for your energy, and that kind of lets you go into almost like a, sounds so dumb, you get to zone out, kind of a flow state. You're just out there doing what you're supposed to, getting those, it's just you. At least for me, anything I've done athletically, I joke about it being the dark place, where like I could just go somewhere else. I could shut it off. I could not hear a bunch of like, I need to do this and do this and do this and do this and do this. And it's just for anywhere from an hour to 3 hours a day, whenever I was doing whatever athletic, I don't know, whether it was jujitsu, whether it was MMA, whether it was CrossFit, whether it was weightlifting, I can go somewhere else and it felt relieving. And I don't know if that's how it is for you when you're when you're derbying. Do you call it roller derbying or derby?
Yeah, roller derbying. Yeah, it is actually very similar for me. Like there's never a time where there's like one thought in my head or no thoughts in my head ever.
Unless
I didn't even know. I'm still weirded out by the fact that some people like don't narrate things in their head. Like, what? You don't have a voice speaking to you? Like, that's so weird.
I had that conversation with someone. Like,
it's so weird. I'm still shocked by that. But yeah, so in roller derby, when I step up to the jammer line and I'm waiting for the whistle, that's what I'm focused on, is waiting for that whistle to blow. There's no other thoughts. And a lot of people will like analyze their way through a jam. Like I'm going here, I'm doing this, like, I'm working with my team, doing all that. I have nothing. I have no thoughts. It's literally just moving on instinct and like muscle memory of the things that I practice. And then at the end, after the jam is over and I'm sitting at the bench and people are talking to me about the jam, then I'm like, oh yeah, I did do that. That did happen. Okay. Like, that's what happened. Yes, I'm with you.
That's a dope thing that you found though. Like, I think you did athletics obviously when you're younger, but it's really cool that later in life, when a lot of people, unless you're a pro athlete or a collegiate athlete or something like that, you kind of move away from those things that brought you a lot of joy because you didn't realize those are the things bringing you joy. They became kind of just at least earlier in age, it just became the social dynamic. It was the expected. You did the sport, you did the thing. Your parents put you somewhere. You might have had some interest, but as you get older, you lose some of those athletic endeavors.
Yeah.
And finding a way to not only build or reduce some anxiety, get some focus and build yourself back up. That's dope. So I'm happy for you, man. Don't tell people I said anything nice to you.
I would never do that.
This never happened. What were you gonna say?
It would make me being mean to you much more less impactful if people knew you were nice to me
all the time. Now, and I don't mean to like spend too much time on the ADHD thing, but I do think it's important for people who are out there who might be struggling with finding a way to keep focus or find something, and you see it all the time. Like you mentioned, it kind of briefly where you might have lost your job if you didn't move on or find something else to help you get that attention somewhere. I found myself staring at one of the easiest tasks in the world. And I'm like, that's boring. I don't want to do it. Or I could do that any other time. Let me go look at something else. Let me go do something else. Meanwhile, the thing that could have taken me 5 minutes took me 2 days.
Oh, 100%. Like, I mean, that's literally my whole life, unless I'm taking medication, which I don't like to do. So I don't like to do every day, I should say. Like I do because it helps me. But yeah, I like talking about ADHD, and I think it can annoy some people because I do say things like, oh, I do this because I have ADHD or this, but it's because I've found that a lot of people don't understand. They don't understand. They just think that some of the things that I do are like quirky things. They're like when I say like I struggle cleaning my house, like I struggle doing chores, people are like, oh yeah, me too. Like I so hate doing chores. Like I love procrastinating. I'm like, no, I don't love procrastinating. Like you don't understand. Like here's the situation.
I'm mad at myself because I'm not doing the thing.
Yours is a cute quirk. Mine is I physically cannot. It's not that I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do this chore because I'm filing my taxes and doing something else important. Like, no, I'm literally sitting there berating myself for hours for not doing the thing that takes me 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like it is a mental struggle all of the time. So I do like talking about it, and I like educating people on it who may not understand, who think that ADHD is always hyperactivity. It's not, especially in women, that you find that a lot less too. It's other things. And so I find myself talking about it a lot, and it became a part of my personality to make sure people knew that I have ADHD, which sounds weird, but I didn't know for a long time that that's what I had. And I thought I was lazy. I thought, like, why can't I stick to anything? Like, I had no discipline. I was lazy, all of these things, when that's actually not true.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that people start to understand that and realize, like, it's okay to help someone work around what they're going through, rather than just like being like, well, why can't you just do it the way that I do it? I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's completely fair. I think I'll be honest. One of the things that I struggled with was I have friends who, especially because I don't know, I guess I come off confident, whatever, blah, blah, that never really understood that I was always processing something. I was always like going at 100 miles an hour. I had an ex or some couple friends that were like, yeah, you can't really sit still, man. Like, oh my God, is it FOMO? You fear of missing out? It's like, no, motherfucker. I don't want to be thinking about 118 things at once. I can't stop it. So yeah, it's not that I want to be everywhere at once. It's because my mind won't let me shut it off. But like, even to the point where it became, I think we talked about this in private conversations, and in previous episodes, we've also spoken about, especially as minorities, Hispanic cultures, like, you can't have problems mentally. They will always say that's not a problem that falls for us. That's someone else. And it's unfortunate, and I'll say it. I've had more than one old school Hispanic parent or family member say that's a white problem. Like, we don't have that. Depression, ADHD, all that. That's not us. We don't have that. I'm like, that's not accurate. That's not accurate at all.
Objectively,
yeah.
Sir, that's not true.
Yeah, exactly. But I remember that kept me from ever wanting to find out, because it became culturally like, okay, I'll just shut the fuck up, lift weights, do whatever I have to, because it worked. Hey, I might stay out late and drink because it shut off my head. I might do some things that were considered bad habits, but people are like, oh, he's fun and like happy-go-lucky. Like, that's some stuff I'm trying to shut down here. There's some stuff I'm dealing with here. And luckily I found athletics and, other obviously medicating at some points, but making sure that I found a way to balance it out. But it's tough to navigate, because people just think of it, like you said, quirks, or you're not trying hard enough, or have you tried this, or have you tried this? Like, I have tried so many fucking things, to the point that you don't even want to tell some of your closest friends. Hell, there's some of our close friends that are probably listening to this episode for the first time, that are finding out that I was diagnosed at like 6 years ago, because I finally took the steps, because I have a loving, supportive fiance that's like, if you're not feeling okay, go talk to someone. So.
Yeah. And that's hugely important, is to have people around who like would support you through whatever. And because I did spend a lot of time thinking that therapy or getting help or doing any of these things are like for the weak, essentially. Like, and I know where that comes from. It's from the culture in which I grew up in. It was the reason, like, I didn't go to get diagnosed for medicine for a long time. Like, I did do therapy, especially like in college, when it was free, back in the day when shit was somewhat free. When insurance did anything. So I did go to therapy and do all that because of some of the things like the depression and anxiety, and I was in bad relationships and all of this stuff, like all of that, like the therapy portion, cool. But I was adamantly against getting meds for mental problems because of the culture that I grew up in, because they don't believe in that stuff. Like, that says no, that's mental problems are fake, essentially. Like, I
remember having a couple of nights of insomnia. Like I was much younger. I was I think 24, 25. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't fall asleep until like literally my body was exhausted and fell asleep. And the dumbest thing was not dumbest, the most frustrating thing. I can't say dumb because they were well intended, but in my head, I'm like, really? That I trust me and try to. They were like, oh, create a sleeping ritual and turn off your phones. And the problem really is that like what you need is to start eating better. Blah, blah, all this stuff was like at that point, all right, cool. I'm at 9% body fat. I'm eating really, really clean. Still can't sleep. I'm being athletic and running around doing all these things. Still can't sleep. If I'm sleeping, I'm not sleeping through the night. All right, cool. I am not staying up late. There's no TV that's on in my room. I'm doing all the things. I'm like, do you think I haven't tried any of those fucking things you just listed?
Yeah, I don't take advice from people who don't have ADHD anymore.
But it is wild because not until recently, until probably the last like 8 years.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Your favorite?
No, my favorite is because you were talking about what people tell you to do. My favorite is when people are like, "Have you tried melatonin or have you tried magnesium?" Like, no, you're right. I've tried everything.
I would show you my medicine cabinet.
Try and sleep, but I haven't tried those two things that you just suggested.
Have you tried melatonin? Yes. Have you tried were you put on sleep meds? Yes, and that wasn't what the problem. That didn't help anything. Nothing got helped. I felt like a zombie. But it is funny that not until like the last 8 years did people really start talking about it like it was a real thing, at least for culturally in our cultures. It became a lot less taboo to like, hey, this is like real problems people are dealing with. Hey, this is not just someone who fidgets and runs around and is really, really energetic. This is not something that could be solved by discipline or whatever. It was like, oh, thank God. Around the same time, nerds started becoming very much more acceptable. I was like, thank God. Someone else isn't going to have to deal with it. But it does make it easier to talk about. So I'm happy that you're willing to talk about it. I think that's one of the things you and I get along with and talk about often, where you'll have moments where like, yeah, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, it's my ADHD. I was like, I know, it's fine. I'm not. If anyone's not going to judge a single thing that just happened, it's me. You can keep going.
It does make me feel too like, I don't know if you feel this way, but it makes me feel like I have split personalities. Mm-hmm. But every version of myself is me showing up authentically. Mm-hmm. It's just that some days I'm like super like chatty and and more hyperactive and whatever. And then other days it's a struggle to get my words out and I sound like I want to murder you. Like it's just like it's I don't know. I just sometimes feel.
Gata makes a comment about it that I either love something like I'm just either one of the most cool, relaxed, nothing bothers me type of person. Or then there are days I just hate everything with the blind fury. And I have like I don't have like bipolar disorder. I have family members who do, but it can come off like that sometimes, depending on how the vibe is. I'm like, no, I'm still very happy. Just that one thing you said right there, for some reason, in the wrong day, did not land well. Don't do that again. Please don't. Mm-hmm. But it's something we work on every day, get it a little bit better. We're going to take one last break, and then when we get back, I do want to hear a little bit more about your roller derby rituals and some of the proudest moments and some more about you. And I do want to say before we go on break, thank you for sharing those stories and sharing your perspective of ADHD, because I think it's important for people to hear it and that you're a real person past all those things, regardless of how mean you are to me. Be right back. Hey guys, this episode is brought to you in part by Coach John Estrada of Run BMT Training, longtime supporter of the show and an absolute beast on the pavement. And for the record, this man just crushed the LA Marathon. And if you're looking to level up your running game, John's the coach to get you there. That's John with no H. Trust me, he's going to correct you. Whether you're training for your first 5K or tackling a full marathon, Run BMT, the coach is there, and John will have you running smarter, faster, and injury-free. So if you need expert coaching, hit up John at blackmattertraining.com and tell him I sent you. Now, he might not give you a discount, but he will make you a better runner. Again, that's John at blackmattertraining.com. Now let's get back to it. Guys. As we're starting to round up the show, we want to get to know some of the, I don't know, I'm always curious about this because athletes, you always hear about these rituals and be superstitious. Are you the superstitious type before you go into any kind of match?
No, I don't think I am, but
do you ever, I'll take away superstition. Do you have rituals that if they're not done, you feel like are your habits that you have to get right before every match?
Not right before every match, but the night before a game, I always have pasta, which started as like a, carb loading,
like The Office
thing. Yeah, it started like as like a carb loading, like whatever, because I don't eat meat, like I can't fuel my muscles with protein, so I do have to do like the carb loading thing. But now if I don't have even certain kinds of pasta that I like it's pasta with tomato sauce. Like,
what kind of pasta? Tell us the details. Why are you holding out? Is it fettuccine? Is it like weedy? Is it spaghetti? Is it angel hair? Sriracha?
No,
what the hell, man? Holding out. Send the recipe, bro.
I think it's called fusilli. So it's the spiral pasta.
Okay.
With pasta sauce. And there could be like other vegetables and things in it. That's fine. But it has to be a red sauce and a lot of it. And if I don't have that, I feel like I don't have enough energy in the game. Like and it's that specifically, like if you give me like, ravioli or something like that, it's not going to hit the same. If you give me even spaghetti, like the spaghetti shape, it's not hitting the same.
Really?
Yeah. So,
so yes, you have a tradition.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. Like, I don't think that's a superstition.
It's not like you believe like someone's gonna break someone's back if you don't eat it, but like there's a ritual. Like I think athletes have like certain pitchers will like tilt their hats to a certain side, do some things like rub dirt in their hands. Like there's athletes that do that. If that's your night before, it has to be a specific food.
I think too, I do have like, I guess it's some quirks or whatever. The first time especially, but the first couple of times I come up to the jammer line, I do some excessive like breathing, like visual, like you visually see, I'm like doing that. So that might be something, but in terms of like warming up or listening to specific things or doing that, I don't have.
Like before any CrossFit, it's been far removed from it. But before any CrossFit competition, I would listen to like specific songs. So I would listen to something by Franco. It would have to be something soft and then something like rock. So it would have to be something like By the Weekend, Wicked Games back in the day, like something like that. It was sounding like haunted strip club music. So it was a weird and then I would listen to something heavier, something like depending on what we're doing. And that became my routine every single time because for those who don't know about CrossFit, sometimes there's this lifting portion. There's a Metcon where your heart rate should be lowered because I'm not a runner. I'm not someone gonna hit something hard or lift something heavy really, really well. But so I would have to do these routines because if not, I can control my breathing all day. But if I didn't listen to the music that kind of helped me melodically focus on something outside of all the external stimuluses, it would go terribly. And I would realize that really quick that if I didn't have my AirPods or something to listen to music, I got angry. I got frustrated. I was like, I need my music. It's going to be it's a lift that I've done a million times without the music. But in this situation, I needed to do it. That was my little ritual / routine. If it was a lift, I had to do something like rock. If it was an endurance training, it's something slow.
That's very interesting. And I think there are a lot of people that are that way. I think I just am bad at being consistent at anything, but I do have the little things.
Yeah. Well, heavy breathing and visualizing or whatever.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I wish I had more.
No, you don't, cool. Because it's going to take so much time.
What can I come up with?
I'm curious.
Pasta the night before.
Pasta the night before has never been one that I've done. I just fucking do very specific peanut butter Uncrustables in between like certain workouts because I need to get that back. But that's just fucking nutrition. All right, so
and it's just games. Like I played just as hard, sometimes even harder at practices. But that doesn't matter. Right? It's just before the games. I need a night before game.
That's what I'm saying.
I got to eat my pasta.
I remember doing it was just it was a bear complex. And it's like, oh, do the heaviest bear complex you could do. In the gym, in front of all my friends, I did the bear complex at like 265, 270. I was like, okay, cool. When we get to the competition, I'm going to try to go for like 235 comfortably. 225 felt like I was lifting the heaviest thing I've ever lifted in my life. And I felt like I was going to crumble because I didn't listen to my music. And then when like, all right, you can do it again. You can come back later at the end of the day. I did my routine. which I should have been more tired. And I did it, hit it hard. And people were like, what the fuck was that earlier then? I was like, the music, mind your goddamn business.
It's just the music, guys.
It was the goddamn
It was
music.
the wrong vibes, okay?
Yeah, vibes are off. Vibes are bad. Everybody get the fuck out. Vibes are off. All right. So some round out questions. So where do you see yourself involved in the Derby long term? Coaching, mentoring, is this something that you want to somehow always be part of? Or is this something that, hey, when you're no longer an athlete, move on?
I would like to think that I would stay and help people. Like it would feel good in my heart. Like in my heart, that feels good, right? Like I want to go ref, I want to go coach, I want to do all of these things. But I know myself, and what I probably would do instead is fill that time with something else. I'd be like, well, I can't play roller derby anymore. And then there would be the next thing that I obsess about for the next few years.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I just think you might be a good coach, but I'm done complimenting you for the day.
Yeah, stop being nice to me. It's weird.
God,
You're giving people the wrong impression.
It's almost like we're friends. Awesome.
I don't know why you would think that.
Well, I'm sure that there'll be something that you can get heavily involved in and be proud of, because I think you're the type of person that once you dig into something, that's going to be it. That's going to be something you're going to really dig into, not just flash in the pan and move on after 15 minutes. It'll be something you want to really dedicate yourself to. So when you make that decision, obviously the ADHD aside, when you make the decision of something you actually want, you gotta stick there. How
do we make money playing video games? Like, I want to do that. Let's do that.
We can do that right now. Norby is a prime example. You and I just have to like align on like, hey, let's get overlays and stuff and get really on that like hype train.
Yeah, well, I need your help because I don't know what I'm doing.
All right. Well,
we should have a channel together. No,
I mean, we technically all three do.
That's true.
You know what? Gata's yelling right now. Gata is fucking shaking his fist to the sky. But he doesn't really listen. But his wife is going to tell him to listen to this part where he's shaking his fist to the sky about, I tell him to be more fucking consistent. He had a bunch of viewers. There's a good, yeah, well, we can dig into that privately because we have to get ready for our DM for what's the game that we're doing? I want you to tell everyone.
Oh yeah, yes. We are playing Call of Cthulhu, which I've never. I DM for Dungeons and Dragons, but I've never jammed for Call of Cthulhu before. So they actually call them keepers, keeper of arcane lore.
Ooh,
fancy!
You're all fancy now.
So fancy. So we are doing a one shot to see if it's a game that we like. So we could do potentially a campaign, right?
I mean, I'm planning on making sure Gata's character dies because I read.
Oh yeah, we're killing him immediately.
But where can people find you? Where can people show support? And where can people find the links to when you guys do go live for your roller derby events?
Oh yeah. Me personally, I don't social media a lot, but you can find me on Instagram. It's Derby_Lane. If you want to watch our games, Tampa Roller Derby streams live on Twitch when we have a game. They don't have the schedule on there, so you'd have to like find it on the Tampa Roller Derby social media or website. But
what are those handles?
Tampa Roller Derby. All Tampa Roller Derby.
Right. Good. Just
Tampa Roller Derby.
Making sure.
But yes, you can find me basically on Instagram, and then soon you can find me on Twitch with G, probably. I don't know.
What's the handle for Twitch? I was going to bring that up.
Oh my God, it's so annoying. Someone took Sriracha Cha, so I had to be Sriracha_Cha_.
Is that it? Does it? All the underscores were done there?
Yes. So bad.
Well, Cha-Cha, Derby, Sriracha, whatever we're going to call you today. Thank you for hanging out with us and taking the time to share some of your stories, insights, roller derby, your passion, and being vulnerable and sharing the struggles and the challenges. I won't say struggles, the challenges of having ADHD, because I don't want to speak for you. I
mean, it's a struggle, and it is challenging.
Yeah, it's both.
Man, we got to do another episode because I really was not entertaining enough. We talked about only serious things. Fuck this shit.
We could be goofy one of the nights that you could drink and have fun. We'll do a live happy hour. Me, you, Gata, and some of the people. Better? And I'll put show notes and information and do little games. We'll do that as part of the live stream. Yeah, there's going to be games. Guys, if you like what we're doing, make sure that you're tuning in every week. We release episodes every Friday at Bourbon_and_BS on Instagram and all our social media. For the time being, we have decided the date for the soft relaunch, where you will be seeing a new name, new brand, but the same old fun. So this way we could be more marketable and your boy can make some money off this and maybe one day leave his job. Starting June 1st, we will do the full rebrand. So looking forward to it, guys. I appreciate all the love, support. If you're enjoying the drink videos, if you're enjoying what we're putting out, make sure you like, subscribe, share with your friends, share with your enemies, share with your ex-girlfriend when she texts you at night saying that she misses you, or your ex-boyfriend, whoever is calling you. Say, here, check this out. And once you get caught up, then we can talk. Use me.
Use you? Yeah, that's you want to rephrase that?
No, use my show for the commercial that says don't text your ex. Like, there we go. That's it. Just said it to them. Guys, take care of yourselves, be safe, and see you next week. Bye, y'all. Hey guys, today's episode is brought to you by Burn Termite and Pest Control. I first met Joe Byrne on Full Frontal Nerdy Show and decided to give his company a try. They have been the best pest service I've ever had. From flexible scheduling, attention to detail, fair pricing, and everything you love about a small business, I highly recommend Joe Byrne and Burn Termite and Pest Control. It's a family-owned and operated business with over 30 years of experience in termite and pest. You can reach Burn Termite and Pest Control at 321-297-7985. Once again, 321-297-7985. And let them know Bourbon and Bullshit sent you. Thanks, guys. See you next time.